TD Battles Flash. Somewhat dead, but never forgotten. It's been over 13 months since the last real content update with the addition of the Snowy Castle map, but since then, not too much has changed. Despite plenty of threads pondering about the future of Flash, it doesn't look like we'll be seeing an update anytime soon either. And why is this the case? Well, let's get right into that. But before I go further, this video may be a bit peculiar coming from someone like me who doesn't even play Flash anymore, but trust me, just because I lost interest in it doesn't mean I don't care about it anymore. As much as I enjoy mobile, I'd be just as stoked if an update came to Flash, as that's where me and many other old-timers started off with. Now let's start with the most obvious reason they aren't updating it: money. When you're playing Flash, have you ever had a time where you were like, damn, I ran out of battle energy, let's go to the store and use my expendable MK coins on battle energy so I can play more games? Or maybe you were like, let's buy 5,000 medallions so I can unlock the Cobra and wreck some noobs. If you said yes to the last part, then I know never to trust you because you're a terrible liar. All kidding aside, there really are no useful in-game purchases / microtransactions to buy in Battles Flash, so I'm willing to bet that a lot of their revenue simply comes from the ads that play while the game is loading, which won't amount to much when a lot of people nowadays use this thing called ad block. Meanwhile, on Battles Mobile, an ad plays about 1 in every 3 or 4 games after you finish. I'd assume ad block is a lot less frequently used there as well. And don't get me started on all the enticing in-app purchases there are, with the addition of club arenas and the Cobra Tower, back when medallions were actually valuable. Even the little things like resetting your win-loss and removing ads from the app completely make them a ton of money. And let's not forget tenfold the player base. So really, it's no surprise all the focus is on mobile gaming for developers, as that is where the treasure lies. But maybe we shouldn't directly compare Battles Flash to Battles Mobile, as I believe the mobile team for Ninja Kiwi is separate from Flash. Which means it isn't simply a choice between of whether to update Flash or mobile. They can easily do both, but there just isn't anyone on the Flash team actively working on the game at the moment. Which brings us back to the Flash side, where it appears that SAS4 and Bloons Monkey City are the games on focus at the moment. But why these games and not Battles, which despite the massive update drought is probably just as big as those other games in terms of players? I don't have any actual data on it to back it up, just a rough estimate. That's beside the point though. The thing is, each of these games have microtransactions that appeal to those small pool of players that spend a lot of time on the game and are willing to put a lot into it, like balloon stones for Monkey City, and strong boxes and black keys for SAS4. That's the 80-20 rule for you. Disregarding ads, 80% of the revenue comes from 20% of its player base, and vice versa. Okay, so that makes perfect sense if they're focusing on those two games because it gets them more money, but here's where it gets iffy. Remember a few months ago I mentioned a new game the Ninja Kiwi team was working on, and it's called Tower Keepers. They're likely putting a decent amount of resources into that game, but what for? To make money? I don't know about that. Maybe you'll also remember they released Footrest Destroyer a few months before that, and how much has the game made them? I don't work for them so I wouldn't know, but what I do know is that very few people even play the game, at least compared to Monkey City and SAS4, so it's only going to earn them a fraction of what those games made. So is it really worth putting all that time and effort into it? Personally, I played Footrest Destroyer and don't see the appeal playing it over SAS4. It just feels like a carbon copy except you're a boat instead of a player. I haven't played enough Tower Keepers to make a rating based off of it, but in that little time I did spend playing it I wasn't much of a fan of it. Regardless of how fun the games are, when you think of Ninja Kiwi, the first thing that will come to most people's minds are balloons, and not their side games, so personally that's what they should be branding around. Again, I don't know how much Fortress Destroyer and Tower Keepers will make, but from what I see it just seems like a waste of resources that they could have used updating Battles Flash to maybe have some useful in-game purchases like club rooms. I'd gladly shell out a few bucks for that, and I know a handful of others will too. Speaking of which, I think a few people even suggested funding Ninja Kiwi for the sole purpose of getting them to update Battles Flash, upwards of $100 from a single person, but Ninja Kiwi turned them down, meaning maybe it's not about the money. So what could the reason be if it's not money? Well, maybe it's the Adobe Flash platform, which in as soon as a few years could be retired completely. Notice that their two recent games are both made on Unity, so perhaps they're worried that putting out an update for Battles Flash would be a waste when it comes to that time. Nonsense though, because Monkey City and SS4 are getting updates, so now we're right back to square one. Listen, I'm just a robot man, and I don't know jack shit about why they're not updating Battles Flash. I can only speculate based on current public info. All I know is a lot of people care about Flash still, even those who quit playing the game like me. It just doesn't make sense to leave such a dedicated fan base hanging like that, so maybe we could make a difference if we become more vocal about it, as if we haven't been enough already. Well, that's all I have to say really. Take what you will of this video. It isn't meant to bash Ninja Kiwi, but I really feel they are heading in the wrong direction in terms of their focus on the Flash website. And hopefully they'll get this message and take it seriously, despite the voice and the random jokes and swears. #make Battles Flash great again. Have a good day everyone.